Christine stepped out of the Uber 40 minutes late, still in her emerald cocktail dress, the hotel's warm windows mocking her exhaustion. Inside the lobby, a lone volunteer sat behind a registration table, the guest list already crossed and annotated.
14 hours in the ER, and now this. I just need my name tag and a glass of wine. I'm Christine. It should be right there. Wait, why is it crossed off?
The volunteer shrugged. Christine grabbed the list and pushed through the double doors into the ballroom, chandeliers and laughter washing over her. Her eyes landed on the bar, where a woman in a red dress stood laughing, her dark curls falling in the exact same way.
That's my face. That's my dress in red. That's Catherine. And she's wearing my name like a crown.
Dean Howard stood beside her, pinning an alumni achievement medal to her dress, while she beamed and shook his hand.
That medal was meant for me. She RSVP'd in my name, walked in as me, and nobody even blinked.
Christine didn't move. She just watched her estranged twin accept the applause, and the weight of the betrayal pressed against her chest like a stone. The registration list trembled in her hand. Her name had been crossed off with a pen. Dark. Final. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through months of unread emails until she found it. "We're delighted to confirm your attendance, Christine. Looking forward to celebrating with you."
Catherine sent that from my account. She planned this for months.
The twin who never finished college, who bounced through bars and borrowed money she never repaid. While Christine pulled double shifts in the ER, Catherine was charming her way through life.
We were identical in every way except ambition. And now she's decided to steal mine.
Catherine moved through the crowd like she owned it, laughing at jokes, collecting congratulations that belonged to Christine. She kissed an old friend on the cheek and slipped a business card into her hand, a card with Christine's name and hospital logo.
She's wearing my name like a costume, but I'm the one who knows every seam.
Her fist clenched so hard the knuckles whitened, the emerald fabric straining. At the bar, Catherine laughed, a sharp, theatrical laugh that Christine had never once produced.
That sound. She's not copying me, she's erasing me.
A vibration in her purse. Christine slid out her phone, the screen glowing against the dim ballroom. Alert. A new credit card application has been submitted in your name. If unauthorized, tap here to block. Christine's thumb froze. Then she scrolled. A second. A third. All pending review.
She's funding this whole charade with my credit. This is no prank. It's a crime.
She raised her eyes. Catherine was clinking glasses with the dean, her smile so bright it hurt to watch.
If I scream fraud now, they'll see two identical women and doubt my word. I need evidence they can't ignore.
Christine stepped back into the crowd, her phone clutched like a weapon. The night had just turned into a countdown. A tall man in a tweed jacket stepped inside, his gaze sweeping the room with a philosopher's calm intensity.
"That profile, Catherine. But the dress is wrong, and there in red the same face again. Impossible. Excuse me, you're Christine, aren't you? I almost called you Catherine, but your wrists are bare."
What does my wrist have to do with anything? Who are you?
"I'm Stephen. I dated Catherine our junior year. I gave her a Celtic knot bracelet that left a scar on her left wrist. Silver, intricate knotwork. I thought it was romantic. But the nickel alloy blistered her skin. The rash never fully healed. It left a permanent scar, a faint replica of the knot, right here on the left wrist."
A scar. A mark no one else knows about. This could be the proof I need.
"The woman in red has her sleeve pulled down, hiding it. Yours are bare. That's your proof."
And she opened 3 credit cards in my name to pay for this night. This goes way beyond impersonation.
3 credit cards. That's fraud, a felony. We can't wait for the police. We stop her now.
She's about to accept an award in my name. If we don't act, it's recorded that I was here.
Then we confront her on stage. I ask for her wrist. You stand ready. The scar ends it.
If this works, I reclaim my name. If it fails, I'm just the crazy twin nobody remembers.
Dean Howard tapped the microphone. The ballroom hushed. Tonight we honor a woman who has saved countless lives. Catherine stepped forward, her smile radiant, as if she had ever entered an ER for any reason but to charm a doctor. Christine slipped left, Stephen right. They moved through the crowd like currents in a river, unseen but unstoppable.
Any second she'll speak. I have to reach the stage before she cements the lie in everyone's memory.
The dean gestured toward the podium again. Catherine climbed the steps, her left sleeve still pulled tight to the wrist. Across the room, Christine and Stephen locked eyes. The trap was set. Only the strike remained. Catherine reached the microphone. She unpinned the medal and held it high, her smile a perfect forgery of gratitude. Christine lunged toward the stage, but a wave of old classmates surged between her and the steps, laughing and calling her doctor. On the far side, Stephen tried to weave through, but a professor clapped his shoulder and wouldn't let go.
They're all congratulating her while I'm 3 feet away, invisible in my own skin.
Catherine leaned into the mic and began describing a midnight trauma surgery, a story Christine had lived, not her. The ballroom erupted in applause. Dean Howard beamed, clearly moved by the tale of a hero in an emerald dress.
Every word she speaks is proof of my life, and I can't even shout over the noise.
A woman in pearls grabbed Christine's arm, mistaking her for a twin who'd want to pose with the star. Stephen met Christine's eyes across the sea of heads. He mouthed, "I can't reach." She nodded once. The medal was on Catherine's chest now. The lie was being recorded into the alumni archives. Time had run out. Stephen broke free and climbed the stage steps, his hand raised to interrupt before the dean could close the ceremony.
Forgive the intrusion, Dean Howard. But before we finish, I have a question for Christine here.
Catherine turned, her smile tightening just slightly as she pulled her left sleeve down a fraction more.
It's quite simple. Roll up your left sleeve, show the wrist if you're Christine, there's nothing to hide.
I'm not sure what you're remembering, Stephen. This is a celebration, not a spot the difference game.
The ballroom stirred. Alumni whispered, some raising their phones. The dean's brow furrowed deeply.
Stephen, this is highly unusual. What exactly are you implying?
In junior year, I gave Catherine a Celtic knot bracelet. She had an allergic reaction that left a permanent scar. If this is Christine, her wrist is bare. Let her prove it.
Catherine's hand twitched upward before she caught herself, her knuckles whitening around her champagne flute. In the back of the room, Christine stood rigid, every muscle coiled. The silence that followed was heavier than the applause had been.
The silence was my cue. I was done watching my own life from the audience.
She climbed the opposite stage steps, each footfall echoing in the stunned quiet. Faces turned. The moment she stepped into the light, the audience gasped. 2 identical women, one in emerald, one in red, facing off.
If she's Christine, she won't have the scar that Catherine has. Roll up your sleeve, sister.
Stephen gently took Catherine's arm, but she yanked back as if burned, her sleeve still clamped tight. Christine stepped sideways, blocking her path to the stage exit. Nowhere to run.
Wait, what is the meaning of this? Are you saying she's not Christine?
They can't see it. If they see it, everything ends. I just need to get past her.
The dean looked between the 2 women, the truth dawning like a cold sunrise. But the scar was still hidden. Catherine clutched her sleeve as if it held her last breath.
For the integrity of this reunion, I must insist. If you are Christine, show your wrist and end this spectacle.
I can help your memory. Here's the bracelet I gave her. The knot. The silver work, exactly the pattern that caused the scar.
That rash was a decade ago. I had a skin graft. There's nothing left to see. You're embarrassing yourself, Stephen.
A skin graft wouldn't replicate the Celtic knot perfectly. The scar I saw had loops and twists, a unique allergic imprint.
The ballroom stirred again, guests rising from their seats, phones held high to capture the impossible standoff.
Catherine always lied with such confidence, but the truth is on my wrist, bare, untouched by any bracelet.
Catherine's bravado cracked. She glanced at the exit, then slowly, reluctantly began to inch the red fabric upward. The audience leaned in, breath held, but the sleeve stopped just past her watch, hiding the crucial inches. Stephen and Christine exchanged a look. Close, but not close enough. The scar remained veiled. Catherine froze, her hand trembling on the sleeve, the silence screaming what her voice would not. Christine lunged forward, seized Catherine's wrist in a vice grip, and yanked the red sleeve up to the elbow. The Celtic knot scar glared under the stage lights, raised, pale, an exact replica of the bracelet's pattern. A collective gasp tore through the ballroom. Phones angled for the proof, flashes popping. Catherine screamed, her free hand flying to cover the mark, but the damage was done. Stephen walked to the edge of the stage and faced the stunned crowd, his voice steady as a lecture.
That is Catherine. She dated me in 2014 and I gave her the bracelet that left that scar.
The ballroom erupted, shock, anger, disbelief crashing together in a tide of noise that washed over the stage. Dean Howard stared at Catherine, his expression curdling from confusion into open disgust. Outside the hotel, the night went on, but inside, a name was being reclaimed. The stage was empty now, but the medal still hung on Catherine's dress, waiting for justice to unpin it.
Christine, the real Christine, step forward. Explain how your twin managed to walk in here wearing your name.
She pulled out her phone and stepped forward, the screen blazing with the bank alerts she'd received just minutes earlier.
She opened 3 credit cards in my name to pay for her dress, her flight, her champagne. This isn't just impersonation. This is fraud.
The crowd, already reeling from the scar revelation, recoiled as if the floor itself had tilted. A second wave of gasps rolled through the ballroom. Dean Howard raised a hand toward the back of the ballroom, summoning 2 hotel security guards. His expression was stone.
1 weekend. Just 1 weekend to be the admired one. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Not in handcuffs. Not like this.
You stole my life and called it a loan. Now everyone sees the interest, and it's drowning you.
2 uniformed security guards climbed onto the stage, their shadows falling across Catherine's trembling form.
It's over, Catherine. You wore her face, but you can't wear her integrity. No more running.
The medal still hung on Catherine's dress, but now it felt like an accusation, polished metal and a stolen name, waiting to be unpinned. Security took her arms and propelled her toward the stage stairs, the red dress trailing like a surrender flag. Her face was a wreck of smeared mascara and disbelief, but she didn't fight. The fight had left her. Dean Howard stepped forward and, with a gesture that silenced the room, he unpinned the alumni medal from her dress.
This belongs to you, Christine, but we will present it properly next year, after everything is sorted out.
He held the medal in his open palm for a moment, then closed his fingers around it and stepped back. The guards led Catherine out a side door, her sobs swallowed by the corridor. No one followed. Stephen's hand settled on Christine's shoulder, a steady weight that asked nothing. She didn't lean in, didn't speak. Her eyes tracked her twin until the door clicked shut. Inside her chest, relief and grief tangled into a single, unbearable pressure. The medal was gone. The lie was over. But the person wearing her name was still her sister. Christine followed the guards down a carpeted hall to a small conference room. Inside, Catherine sat handcuffed, the red dress bunched like a costume someone had tried to tear off. She closed the door. The silence was immediate, thicker than the applause had ever been.
You want the truth? I opened 3 credit cards in your name. I was going to borrow your life for the weekend and vanish.
Premeditated. Every detail, the RSVP, the dress, the cards. She planned it like a surgery.
I was desperate, Christine. I just wanted one night to be admired. Isn't there anything you'd forgive?
You don't get forgiveness on demand. Not for this. I'm pressing charges.
She pulled out her phone and showed the screen 3 credit alerts, the timestamps just hours old.
I'm calling the police now. Identity theft. Fraud. You'll have to answer for it.
Into the phone she recited, "My name is Christine. I need to report identity theft and credit card fraud. The suspect is in custody." The call ended. The worst night of her life had just become the first step toward reclaiming it. 2 officers arrived within minutes, their uniforms stark against the hotel's golden opulence. Christine led them to the conference room where Catherine sat, head bowed. They took statements, Stephen calm and precise, Dean Howard outraged, Christine quiet and thorough. Her phone with the credit alerts was handed over as Exhibit A, Catherine didn't resist. When they read her the charges, she just nodded, her voice so hollow it seemed to come from another room. As they led her through the lobby past the silent ballroom, Catherine's eyes found Christine. She mouthed 2 words. "I'm sorry." Christine looked away, but the apology stuck like a splinter in her chest.
You did the right thing. The only thing.
I'll contact the credit card companies. We'll flag those accounts before dawn.
Thank you. I'll handle the rest.
She texted her supervisor to say she'd need a few days. The ER could function without her. She wasn't sure she could function within herself. The reunion had emptied. Justice had been triggered. But in the silence, wearing her own name again felt heavier than she expected. The next morning, Christine sat in a fluorescent-lit interview room, the stale coffee untouched. Across the table, a detective slid a form toward her.
That's the RSVP confirmation she faked. And those are the 3 credit card applications, all dated 3 months ago.
The detective studied the evidence and nodded. This is more than enough for a solid case. We'll present it to the DA by noon. She signed the report and walked out into the harsh morning light, the police station doors closing behind her like a seal on evidence. Her next stop was the county courthouse. She filled out a petition for a temporary restraining order, her pen pressing hard enough to indent the paper. The clerk stamped it. Temporary restraining order, petitioner, Christine. It felt heavier than the metal had ever been.
This is a wall between us now. A paper wall, but I built it.
She called the credit card companies from the courthouse steps, identifying herself and freezing every account Catherine had touched.
Yes, I need to flag 3 applications as fraudulent. No, I did not authorize them.
By noon, her credit was secured. She stood at the edge of the sidewalk, the restraining order folded in her purse, and for the first time, the air felt hers to breathe. Catherine sat in the defendant's chair, her face a wreck of tears, as the judge read the charges. Her plea cracked through the silence. Guilty. The prosecutor held up Christine's phone, the screen blazing with 3 credit card applications. Exhibit A for identity theft and fraud.
We were identical in face, but she took what I built, my name, my work, my reputation. This wasn't a prank, it was theft.
Her voice was steady, but every word cut. She spoke of 13 years of rivalry, of being the one who always fixed what Catherine broke. In the gallery, Stephen nodded slowly, his expression a mix of sorrow and confirmation. Catherine wept silently, her head bowed, the scar on her wrist hidden but the truth laid bare. The judge acknowledged the gravity of the harm and set a sentencing date a month away. The gavel fell like a punctuation mark. Christine didn't look at Catherine as she walked out. She felt hollow, as if the words had drained something she couldn't name. Stephen caught up with her in the corridor, his hand on her shoulder a familiar weight.
You did the hardest thing, now let it go.
The sentencing came on a gray Tuesday. Probation, restitution, the restraining order made permanent. Catherine didn't look up as the gavel fell. Christine walked out feeling nothing. No victory, no relief. Just the heavy silence of a chapter closed without a final period. Months later, a letter arrived, handwritten, with Catherine's looping script. Christine stared at the envelope for a long time before tearing it open. Inside, I know I can't undo what I did. But please, just 1 hour in a coffee shop. I need you to hear me. Christine read it once. Her jaw tightened. Then she walked to the kitchen, and over the trash can, she let the pages fall.
You don't get to break me and then ask for tea. Not now. Maybe not ever.
A few days later, Stephen called. No questions, no advice. Just I'm at the cafe on 9th. Join me. They sat in a quiet booth, steam curling from untouched mugs. The silence wasn't awkward. It was worn, comfortable.
You did the right thing. The anger will fade when it's ready. Don't rush it. Let it settle on its own terms.
I know. I just thought justice would feel cleaner. It doesn't, but I'm still standing.
A year to the day, an ivory invitation arrived with the hotel's embossed crest. Christine traced the letters for 2 minutes, then set it on the counter.
I could burn it. Or I could walk in there and finish what I started.
She had already bought the dress, deep navy, simple, with a high neckline. No red, no emerald. Something entirely her own.
This color doesn't scream. It doesn't need to.
She stood before the mirror and, for the first time in months, let herself smile. A small, private smile that no twin could steal.
No scar on my wrist. No name stolen. Just me.
She didn't call Stephen. She didn't need a witness anymore. The only person who had to believe she could stand alone was her. At dusk, she took a cab to the hotel. The marquee read the same words it had a year ago, but tonight they felt like an invitation, not a warning. The lobby doors swung open, and she stepped inside, a woman in navy moving with quiet purpose. At the registration table, the volunteer looked up and smiled. Christine returned the smile, simple, steady, real. The ballroom lights felt warm now, not accusing. Christine entered with the quiet certainty of someone who had already fought the hardest war.
Christine, I was hoping you'd come tonight. We have unfinished business. Follow me.
He led her to the stage, the hush spreading through the alumni like a held breath. At the lectern, he lifted the Alumni Achievement Medal, the very same one, and held it out.
For your service to medicine and your unshakable integrity, I am honored to finally give this to you.
Christine took the medal, her fingers steady. The medal felt cool, weighted, not with scandal, but with reclamation. She looked out and found Stephen in the front row, his smile a quiet anchor. She didn't cry. She just nodded, a small, final acknowledgement, and then held the medal high for everyone to see. The applause was for her now, only her. No borrowed name, no stolen role, just Christine. After the applause faded, Christine slipped through the velvet curtains onto the hotel balcony. The city glittered below, indifferent and beautiful.
Catherine only wanted my life for a weekend, but I lived it for 34 years. I earned this.
She traced the engraving on the medal, Alumni Achievement, and felt the weight of all the nights she'd spent in the ER, all the choices only she had made.
The scar wasn't on my wrist. It was on her, and it marked who she was. I'm the one who never needed to borrow anyone's name.
A single tear slid down her cheek, catching the city lights. She let it fall. She wiped it away with the back of her hand, the motion practiced from years of cleaning wounds and moving forward.
This doesn't erase the betrayal. It doesn't need to.
She closed her eyes, letting the night wind press against her skin. The noise of the ballroom was a distant murmur. When she opened them again, the world was still there, unchanged, but so was she finally at peace with who she had always been. She turned back toward the ballroom, the medal warm in her hand, and walked inside. Back in her apartment, as dawn bled through the blinds, Christine set the medal on the nightstand. The medal was cool and quiet. She unzipped her navy dress. In the mirror, the same face Catherine wore, but the eyes were entirely her own.
I don't need to forgive her. I only needed to stop letting her define me.
She dressed in scrubs for a morning shift. The ER would be chaos, but chaos she understood. As she locked the door, she glanced at the medal one last time, a small gleam in the sunrise. Then she walked out into the day, her steps measured, her head high, the city awakening around her. Hospital corridors welcomed her with antiseptic and urgency. A nurse handed her a chart before she'd even clocked in. And somewhere, beneath the beeping monitors and practiced commands, the medal sat on her nightstand. Not as proof of what Catherine took, but as a reminder of what she'd always had. The ballroom stood silent, a lone spotlight on the podium, the medal waiting for the next story to begin. The apartment was silent except for the fridge's hum. Christine sat at the table, the medal on the wood. She had worn it on stage, but here at home, it was just a small, cool weight in her palm.
For so long, I thought I needed to prove I was real. Now I know I was never the one who needed proving.
She walked to the bathroom and faced the mirror, the same reflection Catherine once tried to steal. She splashed cool water on her face. The droplets felt like forgiveness, a quiet letting go.
I am not who she pretended to be. I am who I became.
And in that reflection, she saw a woman who had fought for her name and won. She retrieved the medal and held it to the light. The engraving caught the dawn. Then she set it back, not as a trophy, but as a record of a night when truth won. And when she finally went to bed, she whispered her name into the dark, and it sounded like a victory.